How are you doing, everyone? Welcome to Jumping into the Deep End.
I am Tresa. Welcome to Jumping into the Deep End.
Hello, family. Hello, world. I am Bianca McAtee Thompson, and welcome to Jumping into the Deep End. Let's get this party started.
All right. And I want to welcome our guests, Shara, Melissa, Erica, and Sanctus. Thank you all for showing up. We're going to be talking about non-traditional careers today. All right. All right. So, ladies, let's start with you, Melissa. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. My name is Melissa Brisbane, also known as Melissa of Eighth House Wisdom. I'm a trained psychotherapist and educator who is now working as a transformational life coach and astrologer with a virtual practice focused on women and female entrepreneurs. It's really near and dear to my heart, and something I'm passionate about, especially with Black women. So it's good to be here with all of us.
Okay.
Welcome.
Wow, thank you. Shara, I'm going to let everybody tell us a little bit about it, and then we're going to start asking questions and getting into the show a little bit more. Shara?
Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies. I am Shara Prophet, and I am the owner and founder of Open Door Hypnosis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist and life coach. And I've been doing this now for going on 7 years. And it is a deep passion of mine. I use the modality for myself, healing inner child issues, quitting smoking, dropping 50 pounds and keeping it off. And I just noticed how powerful the modality was, hypnosis. And I just knew I had to get out there and share it with the world and teach others. So my passion is not only helping one-on-one clients, but also teaching others about the modality, how to use it, and how to understand the subconscious mind, because it rules everything. It controls all of our automatic behaviors. So thank you so much for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure working with you, Tresa.
Thank you, and I'm so sorry because I've always been pronouncing your name wrong.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Everybody says it differently, but that's all right.
All right, Erica.
Okay.
Hello, and thank you for having me here. I'm really, really excited about this. So I'm Erica Johnson, also known as the Phantom Queen, and I am an intuitive medium and a necromancer. So I talk to the dead for a living. And I've always been kind of woo-woo, unusual, and attracted to like science fiction, mythology. I always had these experiences of feeling like I was living situations over and over again. I would have a knowing about things, about people around me, and sometimes I would share, sometimes I wouldn't, because it wasn't always well received. And so growing up, then I tried to become kind of normal and do other things. And this desire to know more just never left me. And I started studying. About 10 years ago, where I really got serious about what else is going on, what else could be possible. And it led me to this place where now I teach other people how to use their own mediumship abilities. And I have one-on-one clients. I have a group where we actually practice channeling in that group. And I work with clients one-on-one, helping them create futures that they want. I do something called Journey into You, which is like a deeper intuitive look. It can be more shamanistic. And then the good old-fashioned mediumship readings when you need to check in with mom or dad or that favorite uncle. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be here and share more. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sanctus. Oh my God, I'm just getting so excited. My smile keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Hi everyone, my name is Sanctus Mila. I am the holistic health coach, or the heaven on earth alchemist. What I do is health coaching and medicinal, intuitive medicine through sexual energy and creative energy, helping people to restore their connection to their true selves and their life force energy in order to reactivate their balance in their bodies that we intuitively know how to facilitate. I just support people in doing what it is that they truly desire doing and what their bodies naturally have the desire and ability to do. My foundation is in massage therapy. I went to the Edgar Casey School of Massage, the ARE. I had I had such a massive educational experience there beyond just massage therapy. I learned so much about people, and I fell in love with body work in a way that I didn't anticipate. Um, I started to analyze the connections between touch and intimacy and freedom in our society. And one of the things that's really important to me is to help people navigate sensuality and sexuality and connection in a world that's extremely deprived of it. And the people who position themselves as the authority in this space are not always the people who should be doing that. And so my mission is to really help the individual claim that for themselves so that they have the discernment to recognize who is, worthy of these positions and who isn't. And just so that they can have personal authority in their own lives. And I am a scientist and I'm just fascinated by the human body, by the human mind, and how we're connected to the earth and to each other. And my practice is just a creative exploration of all of that. And I just come up with ways to facilitate my own healing and alchemy, and I help other people do the same thing.
Wow.
Yes.
Right, it is so much up in here.
Yes, this is so. Yeah, I'm excited about this because I had originally planned not to be here, but I was like, oh no, this is gonna be too good to miss. But I do. I am an HR professional, so I have over 20 years, well over 20 years in corporate. Last 20 plus has been at the same company. So from an HR perspective, it's like I love seeing people like just really go the non-traditional route sometimes when the traditional corporate or nonprofit organizations, when those things don't work. So I feel like I have a lot of questions, but it's so diverse in here. But I want to know, like, and you, whoever wants to jump in, but like, what pushed you to that point where you was like deuces on what's traditional and I'm stepping out on this other thing over here? So what was your breaking point? What pushed you into the space that you're in now?
And if all you ladies, I think that'll be a good question for all you ladies, if you don't mind answering. Okay.
So whoever want to jump in.
I'll start. I have not had a traditional job in probably over 10 years. For me, it every time I would get up and go to work, and I've worked in corporate America for a long time. I had all kinds of corporate jobs, different levels and things like that. But it was like a small piece of me was dying every day that I was walking into an office. It would start off really well, like the first 6 months or even like the first year, it would be great. And then all of a sudden something would just happen. I would be like the exemplary employee of the month, and everybody loves me. And then something would just switch where I just wasn't interested in it anymore. And I just kept kind of going around and round and round in circles, where finally it was just like, you know what, you need to return to your nature, to your essence, to what is, what feels good instead of what is expected of you or what you're told to do by society or by your family. And, walking away from a nice paycheck is difficult to do. It's because it's steady. It comes in, you can count on it every 2 weeks. You got benefits and things like that, So when you decide to step out on your own, you know, there is a dip in your finances and things like that. So to stay with it, I think leaving it takes one gumption to step out and be like, okay, I'm leaving. But to stay with it, it takes a whole nother level of strength, you know, because you will experience dips, falls. You will fail sometimes, you know what I mean? Everything ain't gonna be, you know, smooth sailing all the time. But eventually, you know, you get your grounding, you catch that wind, and your wings just start being like, oh, okay, here it is. Now I got it. So even if there is a dip or a slow period or what have you, you're still able to, and I had to train myself how to work through those periods and just like take advantage of them and know that this is a time for me to rest, to recuperate, to refocus. And then I always just come up with something beautiful, like a new process or a new service or a new class or something, you know. So I've just learned how to use those what I call client droughts. I've learned how to use those times as times for me to rest. And then, you know, over time, you learn how to prepare for those. You learn how to, like, you know, stack all your nuts up so you're not like out there in the cold when things are kind of like slowing down a little bit. So
okay,
I'm complete. I'm complete.
This is so good. Okay. I'll hold my thoughts. Go ahead. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So for me, yeah, I've been in the military. So I'm a VFW. I've been to war. I had traditional jobs. Worked at the post office for over 20 years. While I was working at the post office, I actually got a degree in sociology because I thought I wanted to be a therapist or a counselor of some sorts. I also got I did massage therapy, or I went to massage therapy school. But I didn't know when I was doing massage therapy, like I didn't know how to seal my energy. I didn't know how to protect my aura. So as a highly sensitive person, when I would give massages, it would feel like I was like inside the people. It would feel so gross to me. And it would be so funny because people would love my massage. And the whole time I'm like, oh, this is so feeling like this. So it took me a minute to figure out, you know, what my thing was. And so for me, really, it was more like a loss. So I was really close to my mom, and she got really sick in like 2017. And so during that time when she was sick, that's what really motivated me to like figure out, you know, what else I could do. Like I knew there was more to this world than what I could see with my physical eyes. And so that's when I really started taking more classes, learning from different teachers, like how to read minds, just all these different things. And so, so my mom transitioned in 2018. And so that was like a big shift for me to say, like, you know, am I going to keep going to this job? Like how Shara was saying, like every day, I would just feel like my soul was just getting sucked dry from this place. And I knew I didn't want to be there. It just didn't fit anymore. I was in a position where I was like the safety captain plus my regular job. So I was still wanting to like help people and take a stand. And I remember the situation occurred where like someone was actually like threatened by a customer on the street. Like they were threatened with physical violence. And I'm the safety captain. So of course I'm there to address it. I want to know what's going on. I want to be hands-on in the streets, all this stuff. And management was like, we're not doing anything. I'm like, okay, if our person gets hurt, attacked, whatever, well, we have to wait until that happens. So I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I really don't want to be here anyway. And now you telling me that we could be in physical danger and it still doesn't matter. It's time for me to go. So, so that's when I decided that it was time for me to take that leap of faith. And it is definitely challenging to go from being an employee all these years to being your own boss. But at the same time, I know for myself, even when I'm having those slow times or those really big challenges, if I go out my door and I see a mail truck going down the street, I always think about, and it's no shade because I love my people. This is, the post office, like, we deliver. When I was a part of, like, we mail carriers, they get down. So I appreciate the post office. And at the same time, when I see that truck, I always think, like, okay, I could be struggling for them doing that, or I could be facing this, figuring it out for myself. So I keep choosing me. So my plan is to keep choosing me. So yeah, that's my story. Thank you.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you, Karen.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for hearing that. I'll go. Let's see. I come from a family of people in healthcare who are big on education. So I was very traditional early on, but I also grew up in a household with my mom who referred to all of my friends by their astrological sign. So this astrology was basically a way of understanding. I mean, and she used it all the time as ways to explain things. My dad, I think, is the more traditional. And so, I mean, I was out and working as a therapist by 24. My first day of clinical training as a therapist was September 11th, 2001. So, and I've always had dual careers. I worked as an educator. And when I left corporate or traditional work, I left as an assistant principal of one of the top schools in DC. That we grew and was a joy at the time. It was on my bucket list. And kind of like what everybody else was talking about, it went from feeling like a joy to feeling like a noose around my neck. I was also in an exceptional situation because my school was Capitol Hill. I worked with people in politics. I was the only Black female. I was the only Black person in leadership. And I think the thing that really helped me to tap in, because I have some similarities with Zayanara, is I'm really big on herbal medicine and body psychology in general. And during my highest career success, my body was incomplete.
Wow.
I got diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. I have had vertigo my entire life, and I was so off balance all the time. And like many other Black women, fibroids and cycle issues became huge for me. And I think they were the only thing that would allow me to step away from feeling like I need to do this because this is my commitment and I'm the Black poster child. I'm holding all this up on my shoulders and this is what success looks like. And eventually I just had to level with myself that this doesn't feel good. My body does not like it. I am breaking down even more frequently and more regularly because of this level of what I now like to refer to as divine discontent, because it was designed to move me from being in that space, energetically and spiritually, to being like, honey, this is your path. And I think it was also hard because I still worked in service. So I know that I am a person put here to serve. And I thought that I wanted to be in the positions I thought I wanted to run a school. And at the time I wasn't working as a therapist directly, but I was also doing astrology on the side, readings, and had a little part-time business. And at a point when things really, my body was just like, look, we are sick of you. I had to start to architect a way out. And I used astrology to do that because really I was just out of sync with my birth chart and the natural cycles and rhythms that my body is supposed to be engaging in. And so using what I did for others, and really kind of going back to my birth chart and seeing, yes, you can be purpose driven and service driven in other ways. And also tapping into my sense of desire, what really feels good, and getting more into recognizing the wealth of information that my body intelligence gives me, right? As an antenna and as an intuitive vessel, instead of trying to mind over matter. Oh, this, so what? I am feeling lower back pain and all of that. That doesn't matter. Just keep going, right? Once I made that switch, I I was able to take an 18-month kind of journey and transition myself out of working full time and for someone else, and now working for me. And I feel like, and that process is something that I am trying to replicate and teach other women who feel similarly to the way that I am feeling right now, and guaranteeing that it's going to be specific to you because we're using your chart, right? So this isn't about just what is in social media and what's going on. This is about you really getting into your body and your purpose, and what I like to call in astrology your personalized life instruction manual. Let's get into it. Whenever I know now, whenever I feel divine discontent, it's because I'm not really doing what's in my manual. So I need to check in and figure that out. And that is scary, to give up a regular paycheck. And, after 20 years of a career, stepping away. But I will take fear over disease any day.
That's good.
Yes, fear over disease. Oh my God, this is great. Okay.
And
Melissa.
What question? Wait a minute. Let me get Zanara. Let her get in, and then you can ask Melissa.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay.
My answer is pretty short. I just tried everything and I failed at everything miserably. It just didn't work. I wanted so badly to be like I was a gifted kid, and I wanted to, I had a dream of having a PhD at 26, and, everyone said, you're going to go to Gale and you're going to do all of these things. You're so smart. But I didn't know that I had a learning disability. And when I was 19, I was diagnosed with the whole alphabet, basically, because I just couldn't function. And it's like, people didn't understand having a conversation with me. How do you know so many things, but your test scores are trash, and, doing terribly even in community college. And then I would try to work regular jobs, and I actually overperformed, and they're like, well, you're very efficient and we actually don't know what to do with you, and it's upsetting because you're messing up the flow of things. Why are you trying to make things better? We like it bad. So I ended up getting weirdly fired, not for doing anything wrong, but the last 2 jobs that I tried to work, I tried to rationalize, I need to be responsible, I need to be a good adult and, do that. And my body was like, that's cute, but we're going to force you to have a panic attack in front of your job for 2 hours.
Wow.
And even with massage, I went through the entire program, and I had severe panic attacks every time I had to go to class. And the same thing happened with me when I was trying to do yoga with a Caucasian woman. And I had severe panic attacks then too. And I thought, oh, all of these things are severely wrong with my brain, and I need to get on medication. I need to do this and that. And it was actually another yoga teacher that was like, that's your intuition, because the yoga teacher you're trying to work with is like one of the most unethical, horrible people I've ever met in my life, because she had trained with her. And so it was like about 7 years of me being hard-headed and thinking that I had this debilitating condition when it was actually just extremely strong intuition. And my body and my ancestors telling me, you're not supposed to go do that. You're not supposed to be there. That it's not for you. And it hit me finally that like something just not feeling good is a good enough reason to not do it. But that wasn't acceptable, in my family, and just generally it's not a good enough reason. But at a certain point it was like, well, I can keep trying to be responsible and fulfill this societal obligation, and continue to fail at it and it be pointless, or I can just listen and do what I know that I'm actually supposed to do. So I just finally, I pretty much was forced, though, to abandon the idea of what I thought I was going to be doing, and actually just do what I wanted to do. And since I started doing that, everything is just working out. So that's what happened.
It's really interesting that I think I heard with almost every one of you that your body was basically attacking you because you were out of alignment with what you should be doing. So that's just fascinating. Like, I'm fascinated by the body. I have my metaphysical book, and whenever something goes wrong, I'm grabbing that book. I'm like, okay, I know what's physically going on, what's emotionally going on here. And I too have had vertigo before, so I get it. Laid on my back for almost a whole week.
Stupid.
Right. So I get it. But yeah, this is really interesting. I got a lot of notes, but I know Gale had a question, I think, for Melissa. So Gale, jump in.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Melissa. How's it going? Hey, listen, I wanted to let you know that I suffered from vertigo. And when I got diagnosed over 20-something years ago, I could not believe it. When I went to the doctor and he kept telling me, you have vertigo, you have an anxiety problem. I was in management and I would panic all the time and I would get sweaty and lightheaded. And they kept attributing it to the fact that I drank coffee. And I was like, well, even when I don't drink coffee, they were telling me that, you should let go of the caffeine. Then I got put on some medication called meclizine, which was supposed to calm that spirit that's in me. And I was like, I still kept having anxiety attacks. I would be transporting myself mentally out of my body because I'm like, I don't want to go into this meeting. I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to act a fool or have to curse somebody out. But I was just stressing. And when you said the word divine discontent, I was like, yes. And then I got caught up upon what my family and my friends thought success looked like. They thought success was a thing of beauty on me, but they didn't know that I was secretly loathing my job. I was angry and miserable, and I couldn't put it into words because I was more so pissed off in my body. I felt like my body was betraying me. I felt as if all of those panic attacks and those anxieties were just pushing me over the edge. I couldn't believe it. Once I made peace with the alleged vertigo, it still didn't calm me down. And it was like my soul or my spirit telling me there's something more, because my spirit feels like it was a warrior for my soul. And I felt as if I was under attack. At my job, I had 87 something employees, and it was wild. It was crazy. And I was what you call a big fish in a little pond. I enjoyed my job, but it wasn't serving my body or my spirit. It wasn't feeding me until I had to surrender and step away from it in order to get those medications out my system. And even though I'll occasionally have anxiety, it's nothing like it was when I was in California. Oh my God. I would almost pass out sometimes. I would be so nervous, you know.
No,
So
I think listening to you really helped me I got a new download, particularly about some of the similarities that I felt in my situation about um positioning, like my level of visibility, the amount of responsibility that I was carrying, and being under attack related, because all of those things were very much so prominent within me, which is how it's this is the work I'm always trying to do with my clients now around making making sure that we have a body psychology kind of vocabulary about, like, so this metaphysical piece, like what experiences and what showed up in the physical world with these internal symptoms that I'm experiencing. So if I experience them again, instead of having to peel back those layers of the onion and go through all of those Western medicine processes, like, what could it be? Could it be anxiety? No. I need to cut to the chase. I need to know that when I feel under attack, apparently I get really wobbly and start to feel, and if I'm carrying too much, I may experience symptoms that we would call vertigo like, right?
Yep. Come on now. Come on.
Look at them and
Throws you out of balance.
one thing, but if I really want to deal with them, then I need to look beyond the veil and figure out what's that been like before in my life, and where do I feel it in my body, and what would make me feel better. Way too often we're trying to figure out how to stop those feelings instead of stopping being in the place or with the people that make us feel that way, because it's the last resort, especially as Black women, right? Because you feel, like your success, it looks good on you, and they're going to be upset. Like, who would give up all of this? Who would walk away from apparent success?
Yes.
It's all of this is so interesting, because I promise you, I'm not at the point to walk away, because I'm not 100% clear what that looks like or what I would do next. But I know that I know what I do at work. I will hide because I do my job, and I do my job well. But don't put me out in the front, because I know you fools will try to have me working 70, 80 hours a week. And sister girl ain't doing it. I just ain't doing it. It's like, to them, success looks like I ain't doing it. In corporate, success looks like you basically sacrificing yourself, especially within the world of HR. It's like you got to lay yourself on the altar and let all the everybody come nitpick at your body and take everything. I was like, I ain't doing it. So I know when I get my review this year, I whatever it is, what it is, bro. I am not concerned about y'all wanting me to be up front and do these things, because I know what comes with that, and I am not like, I don't want to do it, and I'm not. And I know that might mean they'd be like, oh, well, we pay you too much money sitting back. I'll say, okay, well, we're gonna do it then. Because I can't do it. I refuse to do it. I refuse. So yeah, all of this is just really interesting. And I think for me, when I don't have those boundaries with the traditional work, my body does start to tell. My back hurts, this hurts. And I know that with me, the times that I've had vertigo, there was so much I feel like I was trying to do, not just for corporate, but just, family and everything. And you get totally out of bounds. And that meclizine it's a joke. It made me feel crazy. I was just like, something's off. I don't know what's off. And I don't know if you guys experienced it, but it did something to my eyesight. I was like, now I won't be able to see it. I already wear glasses. So I'm going to have even more issues. I stopped taking it, and I still got some pills here from last year when I had that really bad episode, because I was like, I will only take it if I just can't move. Right. Just let me get to the point where I move. But even it came up a little bit some other times, but I was able to just kind of like just be still, and I had to get back in my body. like outside of all the stuff that I was doing, and just get back in my body. That's why it's like I said, it's so interesting that I think almost each of you have said that your body was like, you got to get up out of this place because it's not meant for you. I ain't all the way at that point, I think, but I think it's getting there. So I just it's time to get clarity on some other things.
I
You
just
know,
love.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tresa. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I had a coach years ago tell me, when you are working for someone else, you give about 68 to 80%. Fly underneath the radar. And then that leftover percentage, you pour that into whatever it is you're doing, because a lot of people will want to do, they want to go out on their own and they want to do another business. But by the time they get home, they're so worn out because they didn't gave 110% at the day job. So what you're doing is you're right on target with what you're doing. Like, look,
Yep.
I'm flying underneath the radar.
Right.
Y'all gonna get what y'all gonna get. And that's that until I figure out what I want to do next.
Yes, because
That was like the most golden thing I had ever heard. I was like, because I was one of those people, those overachievers. Every time I would stay late and all that type of stuff. Man, after I was overweight and couldn't stop smoking and had bronchitis every single year and sinus infections and all of this stuff, I was just like, you know what? I gotta get the hell up out of here, y'all. And I was in the music industry too, child. So that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, because you know what? It's so exciting to hear this because so I left Michigan. I was making good money. I came to Arizona, and I remember like complaining when I got here. I was just talking to Spirit. I'm like, I ain't making no money. I ain't nowhere near what I was making. And I heard, I didn't bring you here for that. I brought you here for nature. So that was the first thing. But then I kept on trying to do the work thing. So finally I took off, but I took off right when COVID hit. So that didn't work out so well.
Mhm.
So now I'm back, but
Mhm.
like I'm back to only so I could transition back out.
Mhm.
Like for me, I had no idea. First of all, a lot of mine is a little bit different because I didn't really know who I was and what I was going to do. And growing up, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. Like there was just, I may have one or two. And the stuff that I'm doing now is totally like the opposite because I'm having so many women and people surrounding me and the things that I love to do. I would have never thought it was this. Like doing what I'm doing now and different things like that. I would have never thought because that was like, I was just kind of, so you never kind of know where you're going to end up. You just have to stay open. I do know that I wanted to help people, but like I tell people all the time, I went into social work because I didn't understand you could help people doing other stuff. So I got burnt out with that. And I felt like I was trying to save the world. And I realized that's not even my responsibility. We all bring some form of medicine here, and you be who you are, and that's the medicine you give. But everything I did, it was like, I'm going to take this class so I can help this person. I'm going to take this. And I was just grabbing all these classes, doing all these things. And even the classes that I really wanted for myself, I began to resent everything because I was always in my mind doing it for other women, doing it for somebody, fix somebody. And it just kind of like, it took me to a place where I had to understand that's not what I'm doing. Even what I'm doing now is because I love it, but I understand it's where I'm supposed to be. Like I wasn't, and so I've had to come to start back working, but now I'm transitioning back out through coaching and the classes and the things that I'm doing. And
Shara.
Shara.
Shara, and when you talked about sometimes not having the money or setting up the nuts when you do have it. So, this is different. But I think when Melissa talked about she'd rather have the fear than the stress, than the health issues, I get it. I get it. Like sometimes I don't be wanting to go to work. I don't want to be wanting to do this. It's like, wait a minute, this ain't supposed to be my life. This was never supposed to be my life. And then you start to figure out there's got to be something else, something so much better than this that fits me. Like everything that everybody is doing is what fits them. When Erica talked about she knew she was a necromancer and a medium, or maybe not totally understood it, but she knew she was doing it. Okay, I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but I'm not trying to. Sanctus. She knew, you know, it's like everybody started coming to figure out what they wanted and who they were. And I swear to God, it took me a long time. Some of y'all seem like you listen to somebody tell you something. It took me a long time when they kept saying, you know, I had different ones who talk to me about trying to save everybody. Stop trying to be Captain Save a Hole. Stop trying to do this, even in the work that I was doing, just trying to save everybody. And I couldn't get it. I would get frustrated with them. I would get frustrated, like, wait a minute, I love and I want to do and I want to do and I want to do. They saw what I did not see. You can still do all of those things, but you do what you are gifted to do instead of trying to, and you stay in your lane. Like I was trying to figure out all these different things and just very unhappy, just very, very unhappy. And so I mean, I swear, when I began to understand, I always kind of knew I had a gift for bringing people together and doing things like that, but not trusting that. So, you know, if you have to tell the audience out there one thing about, trusting the process, because you all had to do to some point come to a place where you had to accept, I just got to trust this process. What would be some advice that you would all give to them?
I would say in trusting the process, even trust the resistance to making the move.
Okay, that just hit me.
Wait a minute, I want to see say that again and then
say it again.
Expound a little bit.
In trusting the intuitive nudge to make a change, also trust the resistance to make the change, because that's a part of the process.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
You know, it took me
the give and take. Yeah.
It took me 2 years to finally say, yes, I'm going to start taking these classes, you know, to learn how to do hypnotherapy. And even then I was kicking and screaming because I had owned a whole nother business, and I was trying to, you know, that business wasn't working out, but I had like drained my finances, drained my savings, you know, max out all credit cards and everything, trying to run this other business. And the hypnosis opportunity kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And I was like, I'm not about to change my career right now, you know? So it took me 2 years, right? But I had to trust the resistance, because it was the resistance that pushed me to the point of so much pain and disappointment and, you know, feeling things in my body that I was able to, when I finally said yes to it, it was time to do it. And I was successful at it immediately. Like it was natural. Like I didn't even know. Good. I didn't know I had that. You know, I didn't know that was something for me to do. So I, you know, graduated at the top of my class, won every single award that they had. I won awards I didn't even know that they had. You know what I'm saying? And then got offered a teaching position at the college that I graduated from, even before I graduated. So I'm saying all of this to say that if you feel the resistance, try not to buck against it so much. Allow that to be a part of the process and accept it as that, because when it's time to move, you're gonna know it's time to move. And spirit does tap, and it'll whisper, and eventually it'll drop an anvil on your head, and then you'll be like, "Oh shit, it's time to move."
Tower moment.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. I think, for me, trusting the process is, I think that's great about the resistance, because trusting the process, even now, it's still a process, right? It's still, you know, if I'm thinking of a product, or I'm thinking of a service, like, is that gonna work? Does anybody even want that? Like, you know, so it's still, you know, there's still risk involved. And for me, it's like, okay, is this on purpose for me? Is this part of what I want to share with the world? Is this something I'm doing because everybody else is doing it and they say, you know, people in my industry should be doing it? So it's still, you know, you still have to question things. And then it's like, well, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is it that I want my customers or my clients to receive from me? And so for me, because I can be very much in my head still. So even connecting to like, what is my why? What is my purpose and my intention here? Why am I doing this? That also helps me to be able to lean into that trusting of, what's next. Or even if I try something and it's a total flop, I do feel something, right? I do feel something. And it's like, okay, that thing didn't work out. Was it, how you presented it? Was it just not the right service for this time? Was it maybe just a crappy idea? Like you thought it was great in the shower and maybe it really didn't translate to other people. And being okay with that. Like not taking that as my business is terrible, whatever, this is wrong. Just like, okay, that was feedback. But I'm still where I'm supposed to be. I'm still, doing what I need to do. And so now maybe I just need to make some adjustments. And I think that between, especially when we're entrepreneurs versus at a job where, other people are telling you they want you to do this thing in a certain way. And if it works or it doesn't, it's more or less on them. Like you're not really involved in that part of the process. So being on your own and having your own business and being able to trust yourself, there is that flexibility. And if you don't have it now, you're going to develop that ability to pivot as well. So I think it's all part of the, trusting process.
Wow. Okay. So I want to hear from the rest of you ladies. But so far I've heard in trust in the process, trust the resistance, trust the feedback that we get. Melissa or Sanctus, either one of you want to, what would you tell the audience?
Sure. I guess I would say just as it relates to trust, putting your trust in others is misplaced, especially when you are working in a client-centered business. It feeds our inner people pleaser. A lot of times we barricade ourselves against intuitive information because it feels good to us, but we're not sure how other people will receive it. But they also didn't receive our message, so they really shouldn't be factored into our consideration in that way. Some things are just for you. And I think for a lot of my clients, where they're like, well, this makes a lot of, when we hit that place where it's like, this makes logical sense. And even for myself, like this makes logical sense, but I'm afraid about how, if they're going to take it this way. And I don't know. And it's like, I don't need to trust that they will receive it. I need to trust that I need to take this idea and move it from seed to fruition if that's what feels right for me, right? And then that becomes, then what they may think and how they may feel is exactly what Erica is talking about. It's feedback, right? It's feedback that I have to learn to be an observer about. Completely observer mode, not critique and critical. I want to take that word out of our vocabulary. There's nothing positive about critique. It is only to point out what is wrong. You are never critiquing what's good, ever. Right. You need to analyze, which gives you balanced, good, and right. And so the opinions of others are for analysis so they can stay in the feedback realm, right? And trust is not to be put in others. It's, do I have the capacity? Can I do this? Is this for me? Does it feel good to my body? As Erica said, is it a part of my purpose? And even if I put it out there and it doesn't work, then that's when I got to go jump into that observer mode to look at my feedback and rinse and repeat, not use that as a blunt tool to beat me over the head and reduce my ability to trust myself in the future because something didn't go the way I expected it.
Oh, this is so good. Wow. Okay. Intuition. Follow. Trusting our intuition. Trusting our intuition. Sanctus.
Um, Melissa, sometimes you sound like Maya Angelou. I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
I received that.
Yes.
Um, I when I look back, I realized that I was judging myself for not moving quicker or doing, it was like, oh, I should be doing this. But really, that was also a misinterpretation of my intuition, also, because it was like, yes, do this, but not exactly right now. You have more to learn so that you're in a better position when you do start. Because if I had started when I originally wanted to, there's just so much 5 years ago that I know now that I didn't know before. Um, I mean,
Yes.
I would have things would not have gone as well as they are now, because the work that I do requires so much discernment and so much emotional capacity, and boundaries that I didn't even like know how to engage with before. Um, and like now it's to the point where, before people would approach me a certain way and go, oh, like you're some spiritual art, girl. And I can just kind of, I was naive, to be honest. And I learned a lot in 5 years, and now I can still be like this happy, carefree person, but I can still like read people down and like just not, yeah, we don't have time. And I would have engaged with it that way when I was 21. So yeah.
Oh,
So
this is
thank you,
so
judges.
good.
Yeah. All the time that you took to make the leap was just gathering information.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think this is some very good information for the women out there in the audience who really, like all of you, um, they just know that traditional job is not for them. And that's not to say that some people won't work a traditional job, because if they don't, what will we have?
Right.
Everybody. But the point is that those that feel led to leave the particular job they're in and do something non-traditional, or those who feel led to leave the job they're in and just do another job that they like to do. Some
Right.
people absolutely love working in corporate. They just don't like where they
Mhm.
are. And so, being able to trust your instinct, trust yourself, and allow yourself, give yourself permission to just do what you want to do and love what you want to love. And I was thinking about the group that I have. I remember I had kind of kept stepping back away from it and stepping back away from it in Facebook. And I had to take the chance that maybe the women will be there, maybe they won't. But I knew it was something going on with me that I just had to figure out what, because I felt like I could not continue to like teach or do anything or bring anything when I was like really all over the place myself. And then when I remember the first time I stepped back, I was like, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and I'm gonna do this for what, I don't know, for let's say 14 days, and I'm just gonna come, and it just didn't feel right. And when I stopped trying to force it, then things are starting to pick up and people are starting to join and pick up on their own. And I even
Mhm.
remember when I wanted to do this, when it first came to me, I thought it was going to be by myself. And then I remember talking to Gale, and she said yes. And one day I'm talking to Bianca and she says yes. Well, the thing was, um, as Sanctus is talking about, we can do things too early because our intuition will guide us, and then we'd be like, yeah, it's now. And to hear her say that means that sometimes everything is not for now. We just kind of, we're understanding that it's here. It's a place that we're going to end up going to, but not necessarily now. So it just teaches us, at least what I hear from all of you ladies, is that um, there is a time and a season for everything, even in our business, and when we're supposed to do things, how we're supposed to do things, the way we're supposed to do things. It's good because I think our audience needs to know that even if they
Yeah.
feel this, there might be some resistance. Um, they may need to learn to pay attention to certain things for feedback, trusting their intuition, all the things that will help them to to be successful. Because I don't think every business has to fail. But I think
Right.
it's things like this that we
Yeah.
don't know. Like we don't always know and don't know what to expect. And then we think, as Erica said, oh, something must be wrong with my business. And we just kind of get discouraged. We don't trust ourselves, as Melissa talked about. And we beat ourselves up. And then we just begin to come less and less and less to trust ourselves. Um,
I,
so, yeah.
I definitely want to kind of piggyback on that a little bit, Tressa. I'm like, we are really jumping into the deep end today with this. This is good. But I know for each of you, you all do, you have different types of businesses. So, um, like basically, if when you have a client and they feel a kind of off, or even if you feel kind of off, what modality are you using to kind of get back into a grounded space? Because it sounds like each of you, you're using different modalities. So like, what do you kind of do? It's like, okay, I'm feeling like maybe I should or maybe I shouldn't. So if you're in this area, or if you or your clients in this area of kind of, I don't want to use the word confusion, but not being clear, like what modalities do you use to help kind of get there?
I use cognitive therapy and hypnosis for my clients. And for me, if I'm feeling a little off and I know I have to work that day, I will call upon my inner guidance, my higher awareness, and say, listen, if I'm supposed to do this today, make it work out, and then I'll show up. If it's not meant to be, then cancel it. And usually what happens is client will end up calling like, oh my God, I have to cancel, or something will happen where the thing has to be rescheduled and I didn't have to do anything. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
Well, let's see. For me, well, for me, sometimes I see my clients because they feel off balance or something's not working. So so we pull those things out during a session. And generally speaking, when it comes to my sessions, whether it's mediumship or anything else, I still I always set the intention to give my clients some type of action steps. So it's not just like, oh, you feel good. It's like, yeah, that's great. And you know, some people it might be writing in the journal for so many days, or getting in nature, going to do some type of something outside of themselves. Um, for me, I'm like a big nature person, so I feel fortunate to live in LA. So there's plenty of hiking trails, beaches, and all of that. Or I'll really just walk around my neighborhood. So, because like I said, for me, I know it's a lot of getting out of my head. So for me, like moving my body, um, doing other things like that help me to ground and come back into myself and refocus.
Cool.
Okay.
okay. Um, I would say for clients when they're in that space, like a kind of like the four major things that I want to address are body psychology, like where are you feeling this discomfort in your body? Let's identify that so that we're building up your relationship between what it feels like and what that might be telling you on a deeper level. um I'm a EFT practitioner, so I'm big on tapping, because
Yeah.
once you figure out where it is in your body and you learn those patterns, you're probably in fight or flight. So it's helpful to address that and calm the nervous system so we can get back to a good place to address what's happening. And I feel like once we address what's happening in your body and then in the nervous system, then we can ask some of those higher order questions and come to some conclusions, like Shara was saying, with some cognitive techniques. I usually, with my clients who are open to it, especially astrologically, for energetic containers, I like to work with the planetary days and just where we're at in a cycle, because sometimes the alignment of what you want to do or why you're confused is because it's just an energetic mismatch between your intention and what's showing up. And so sometimes we can experience greater success when we're aligning our intentions with the natural energetic cycles that support them. So sometimes that can be a helpful assist to people. So that's usually the process that I try to take people through. And scripting, because people need to be able to reframe what they are saying negatively, I like to call, like the vicious little league coach that you would like, we would all like beat to hell because he's screaming at a 6-year-old, like that one. Everybody knows they exist, but I also think it's helpful to give people scripting. I'm usually doing it in talk therapy. I know someone like Shara is doing it subconsciously, but you got to switch out what you're saying to yourself. So I think that piece is tremendous to get out of confusion or crisis, I think, or difficulty.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For me, I've always used sound to balance myself before I didn't know about like mantras and all of these things. I just did it as a kid. I would always like hum and sing if I felt like something off in my body. And then I went to school for singing, and then I was like, oh, I'll be a music therapist, and it didn't feel like enough music or enough therapy, and so I just kind of played with it for a long time. And so now what I do is I facilitate these sessions where I'm actually singing and chanting and humming, and I'm doing what some people will call Reiki, but it's an energy, architecture, moving things out of the way and just seeing where they feel, what needs to be softened, what needs to be released, what needs to be, moved. I call it energy massage because it's essentially massaging the energy body. So I do that for other people and I do that for myself, and even just singing, it can be anything. I actually love heavy metal music. So that's, I do that. And
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very relaxing because if you think about it, like, if you get one of those electronic massagers you put on your back, and you're like, you're doing that with your mind, or you're doing that with your energy. You're actually doing that on a cellular level and releasing whatever vibrational encoding is there in the cellular memory. So that is so. People always apologize. They're like, "Oh, my energy's off," Like, that's literally what the session is for. Like, that's the point. Like, you wouldn't go to the doctor and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my arm's broken." Like,
right.
What people do, they're like,
That's okay. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, sure, the same thing that happens to me. If I'm not supposed to work with someone and they keep trying to book me, I had one guy go to jail the morning before we were supposed to have a bodywork session because he was a weirdo. So my ancestors were like, "Oh, let me just get that out of the way real quick for you."
Always works like that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So yeah,
you don't have to do anything. You're
exactly.
Like, oh, you just
you.
cut yourself out of this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
And the thing I love about all these non-traditional careers is some of them probably people don't even really think about or haven't thought about. And just to see how they work and to see how each one of you aligned with your purpose. It looks, there are some similarities, but there are a lot of differences. And so just the fact that you guys said yes, you're saving lives. You're doing a
Yes.
work that you enjoy doing. You're doing a work and offering a service that women need or men need. And it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Um, so I want each one of you to tell us where you can be found, how you can be reached, because this recording will go back out so anybody can, they can look at it, they can get this. But where you can be found, if you do virtual, if you do only in person, just give us some things so that when someone comes back and look at what we've talked about today, they'll be able to find you.
Okay. You can find me at opendoorhypnosis.com. Some of the things that I specialize in is pain management, removing emotional and mental and energetic blockages, goal setting, peak performance enhancement, and a myriad of other things. And that's the best way to find me, opendoorhypnosis.com.
Okay.
So you can find me at eighthhousewisdom.com. I'm Melissa Brisbane, or Melissa of Eighth House Wisdom, and there I offer classes on understanding your personal astrology, uh, DIY tools to help you dig more into learning about your chart. I blog regularly to give information about the process I have called stellar planning to really integrate what's happening annually with movements with your own chart so that you can use um, my stellar year blueprint to really map out success and use a calendar the way that it really should be used, not only to keep track of time, but keep track of energy and make all of those things work for you. And related to this, Shara and I actually have worked together that would help women who are in places thinking about non-traditional transitions or being in corporate or professional work and just being overwhelmed and needing to learn how to not be overwhelmed or find your purpose. And that's at bossblackwomen.com. So,
All right. All right. Did you say false black women?
yes,
Boss,
boss.
boss
Boss.
black women.
Thank you. Thank you. Bossblackwomen.com. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, you can find me at thewisdomrealms.com. It's all one word, thewisdomrealms.com. You can find me on Erica Johnson on Facebook. I'm also I'm the Wisdom Realms, and I'm the Wisdom Realms on Facebook and Instagram. And you can always message me. Any questions about any services or any challenges you're having and you're not sure if my services are a good fit for you or not, I will let you know. So you can always message me there. Thank you.
You can find me on the Heaven on Earth Health Coach.com, the Heaven on Earth Health Coach on Instagram as well.
All right. All right. And Bianca, you want to say where you can be found?
Yes, hello world. Thank you for being with us today with jumping into the deep end. It's been a great time with these ladies. And you can find me on Facebook, Bianca McAtee Thompson. On Instagram is Fabulous by Intention, all one word. No, I have periods in there, so Fabulous by Intention with periods in between. And then my website is www.fabulousbyintention.com. So
And Gale?
You can find me under my author name, Camille St. Charles, Mississippi.com. You can go to the website and it'll branch out to all aspects and all avenues that deal with me. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us and jumping into the deep end. I plan on contacting Erica and Melissa. Erica, just right quick, lady. Erica, my lights are flashing in here. And I'm like, what is going on in here? My lights never flash. And it did it 3 times and I had to stop and look off. And I was like, what? And I was like, well, is there something I'm supposed to be asking somebody or what's going on? Because it's never happened. You understand, it's never happened. I've never had
who's the female
something that showed up out of the blue like this. So
who's the female around that's trying to get your attention? Is that your mother, your grandmother?
My mom. Yep. Mm-hmm. My mom died 5 years ago, and I have not. What is it? You know how sometimes you see people after they pass. I've never seen her. Now she'll talk a lot of shit to me in my head, but she's never shown up I'm not sure how my
She
spirit
said that's
would
a lie.
accept that spirit,
She said that's a
because
lie. She said she's showing up, you just don't see it. When she does stuff, just like the light, when she does stuff, you ignore it or you pass it off as something else. It's like you treat her like if she was a gnat trying to come around and get your attention, and then you like, leave me alone, not right now. So she is around you. She is trying to get your attention. So yeah, she said we had to wait till we came on TV so I could just show up.
I guess so. I guess so. Well, thank you, girl. Okay, Mom.
No, and
Okay.
Gale, double synchronicity. I just had a client of mine talk to me who I had been telling about connecting with her ancestors, about how the lights just kept flashing for mothers and grandmothers. So that's just double confirmation. There you go.
I don't know what I was thinking. I never gave it any thought, but the whole spiritual realm just fascinates me. It just fascinates me. So, okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
No.
I have to go. I have a client, ladies, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye, Shara.
Bye, ladies. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So you can find me, Tresa, at Transformative Conversations and Solutions. .com. You can find me on Facebook at Tresa Simmons. You can find me at Instagram at Uniquely Brilliant 2 TWO. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, audience, for watching us, and thank you for the ladies that said yes.
Yes.
I really appreciate you all. Thank you, and you all
Thank
have
you
an
all so
amazing
much.
day. It was a pleasure.
Thank
Y'all have
you.
Great one.
Thank y'all. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, loves.
Keep up the good work.
See you later.
Yes. Talk to y'all later.
All right.
Bye.